Today on the Daily Scoop podcast from the Scoop News Group, the federal CIO calls for agencies to inventory licenses with the top 5 software vendors across the federal government. And USAID's information technology team has just 5 members remaining. It's Thursday, March 27, 2025. Welcome to the Daily Scoop podcast, where you hear the latest news and trends facing government leaders. I'm the host of the Daily Scoop podcast, Billy Mitchell. Thanks so much for joining me. Let's dive into today's top stories. Newly installed federal CIO Greg Barbaccia has called for agency CIOs to inventory licenses with the 5 software vendors that earn the most from federal contracts by April 2nd as part of a larger software accounting initiative. Barbaccia sent an email obtained by FedScoop to all federal CIOs on Monday, requesting that agencies complete a software license inventory to account for, quote, the full universe of software licenses at your agency. To start, Barbaccia called for CIOs to identify licenses with the 5 software vendors who do the most business with the federal government: Microsoft, Adobe, Salesforce, Oracle, and ServiceNow, per a 2024 report from the Government Accountability Office. As that report explains, in fiscal 2021, across the largest 24 federal agencies, 10 vendors accounted for the majority of the most widely used licenses, with Microsoft alone accounting for more than 31%. The others on that list at the time were IBM, VMware, Cisco, and McAfee, with Esri and Google tied for 10th. VMware and McAfee have both since been acquired. Additionally, the federal CIO wants an accounting of any security logging and monitoring software, including but not limited to Datadog, Elastic, Splunk, and Sumo Logic. Barbaccia has given CIOs until April 2nd to inventory those licenses in a spreadsheet attached to the email he sent Monday. And then by April 30th, he has called for a full inventory of all software licenses and associated contracts across federal agencies. In other news, the information technology staff of the now-hobbled U.S. Agency for International Development is down to a skeleton crew capable of providing only limited support, FedScoop has learned. The group is what remains of a once large team as the Trump administration massively scales down American foreign aid and questions emerge about the future of USAID assets and the security of government data. Only 3 information technology operations employees, a project manager, and a contracting officer are currently working on the agency's IT staff, according to someone within USAID. That's a tiny fraction of the approximately 100 or so staffers devoted to IT before the Trump administration started in January. Jason Gray, the chief information officer who briefly served as acting administrator of the agency, is now assisting the front office with their plans for USAID, the agency source said. He's also helping to manage account activation, another USAID source said. Employees behind the information assurance team, which managed compliance management focused on cybersecurity and privacy, are all on administrative leave, another source said. Contractors have also been removed. The future of USAID is still unclear. A federal judge recently found that USAID shuttering could be unconstitutional, though the Trump administration is likely to appeal that ruling. According to a memo obtained by Reuters, officials are now interested in turning USAID into the U.S. Agency for International Humanitarian Assistance, which would become part of the State Department and only focus on food security, global health, and disaster response. Yet, efforts to move technical systems appear to be continuing. To facilitate the transfer of some USAID assets to the State Department, leadership created a small coordination support team with members from both agencies back in February. Jeremy Lewin, a Department of Government Efficiency member and Harvard-trained attorney, has since disbanded the group, several sources confirmed, and according to a late March email viewed by FedScoop. For more news at the intersection of the federal government and technology, make sure to visit fedscoop.com. The Daily Scoop podcast is available on all podcast platforms. If you've already rated the podcast on your platform of choice, thanks so much. High ratings and good reviews of the show help more people find it. The Daily Scoop podcast is a production of the Scoop News Group in Washington, D.C. Adam Butler and Carlin Fisher help put the show together, and the entire Scoop News Group team contributes. We'll be back next week with brand new episodes. Until then, I'm your host, Billy Mitchell. Thanks so much for listening.